18-year-old Raju lives in the quiet village of Rampur. Orphaned at birth, he was taken in by the local Sarpanch and his wife, who raised him in a deeply sheltered, intensely loving home. But affection without context creates confusion. Despite their care, Raju feels like an outsider in his own life. He carries the quiet guilt of being a charitable burden, entirely disconnected from any real sense of identity. There is a specific reason for that disconnect. 10 years prior, Raju's father walked into the nearby forest and simply vanished. In response, the village implemented a strict code of silence. No one is allowed to speak his name, and no one is allowed to discuss what happened. The adults believe they are keeping the boy safe by omitting the horror of his past. But total protection requires the suppression of truth. By enforcing that silence, the village inadvertently creates a massive psychological blind spot in the exact person they are trying to protect. In psychology, this mechanism is known as the noble lie. It occurs when caretakers intentionally fabricate or omit reality, specifically to maintain harmony and protect an innocent person from trauma. This psychological flow model shows how the strategy works in the short term. The solid protective sphere successfully deflects the immediate jagged spikes of pain, but that blockage introduces a severe structural flaw into a person's worldview. Withholding a person's history doesn't erase their need for one. It simply leaves them feeling hollow, hollowing out a massive vacuum of truth at the center of their identity. The human mind abhors a vacuum. If trusted guardians refuse to provide an explanation for reality, the subject will seek it out, allowing any external source to bypass the outer defenses and anchor directly into that empty space. The Sarpanch and his wife thought they were building a fortress around Raju. In reality, by denying him his history, they accidentally primed him to trust the very first entity willing to offer him answers. Eager to prove he can provide for himself, Raju finally disobeys the unspoken rules and ventures into the forbidden forest. Almost immediately, he encounters something unnatural, a large koil, a cuckoo bird, that speaks to him in a human voice. The bird doesn't threaten him. Instead, it executes a highly calculated tactical move. It addresses him by name, validates his missing identity by naming his father, and promises to reveal exactly where he is. To cement this new bond, the koil offers immediate tangible value. She guides Raju deep into a hidden cave and presents him with a rusted chest overflowing with unimaginable wealth. Raju brings the treasure home, but the Sarpanch panics. Terrified that the local king will accuse them of theft and execute the village, the Sarpanch forces Raju to carry the heavy chest directly to the royal court and surrender the wealth entirely. The contrast is stark. The Sarpanch, Raju's lifelong guardian, takes away his wealth and continues to offer nothing but silence about his family. Meanwhile, the monster in the woods provides both riches and the exact truth Raju has been craving. In a single afternoon, Raju's trust matrix is entirely flipped. Aware of the growing danger, the village sadhu intercepts Raju in the forest, desperate to finally reveal the horrific reality of the bird. He explains that 10 years ago, a powerful Dayan, a demon, was hunting the village. Raju's father sacrificed his own life by leaping into an ancient well, triggering a curse that trapped the demon inside the body of the koil. This timeline matrix illustrates information asymmetry. When competing narratives exist, the first entity to deliver data gains a massive psychological advantage. By the time correct data arrives, the victim's worldview is settled. The late truth shatters against the established narrative. Raju completely rejects the sadhu's warning. Convinced they are hiding his father, he sneaks into the moonlit forest to break the cursed magical bottle. This decision isn't dark magic. It's the perfectly logical outcome of a shattered trust system, engineered entirely by his guardian's silence. Ignoring the pleas of the Sarpanch and the sadhu who tracked him down, Raju lifts the glass bottle and drives it into the stone floor. The curse breaks. The koil immediately sheds its avian form, expanding rapidly back into a towering, vengeful Dayan. Raju freezes. The entity he chose to trust, the one that promised to reunite him with his father, stands before him as the literal architect of his father's demise. The silence of the village bought them 10 years of peace, but that protective shield evaporates in a single second. The entire community is left completely defenseless against a threat they deliberately chose to ignore. Hiding a monster from someone does not kill the monster. It only guarantees that when the victim finally encounters it, they will be entirely unarmed. The Dayan turns her attention away from the boy and prepares to slaughter the Sarpanch and the village, creating a sudden, impossible bottleneck of time. Raju realizes that escaping the forest is no longer an option. To correct his catastrophic mistake, he has to recreate the exact same conditions that bound the demon a decade prior. Without hesitation, Raju sprints toward the cursed well and throws himself into the void, trading his life to reset the trap. The Dayan is instantly pulled back into a bird, but the cost is absolute. The Sarpanch is left staring down into the darkness in profound grief, realizing that despite his desperate attempts to protect the boy, the cycle of trauma has repeated itself perfectly. Truth, no matter how heavy or traumatizing, is the only armor that actually protects us. Secrecy disguised as love is just a delayed weapon.